Hey, what's happening, my fearless networking friend? Todd Falcone here. Let's chat about the one thing, the only thing, the one thing that you need to be an expert at follow-up. Okay, there's more than one thing that's being, that we need to do to follow up, but this is the one thing that makes the biggest difference in the world. And people are, as Jim Morrison said in his song, people are strange, right? And sometimes they just don't use common sense. And it's like, I'm not very good at follow-up. Like, I forget to call the person. I'm like, dude, seriously? You forgot to call the person. Your brain is your calendar? Like, seriously. Like, if you're going to be successful in any business that requires like scheduled appointments, like for example, I got a reminder tomorrow, I got to go get my teeth cleaned at the dentist, right? And they sent me a reminder, which is great. It was already in, guess what? Where was it? Was it in my brain? I booked this 6 months ago. 6 months ago, right? So, I get my teeth cleaned every 6 months. Smart thing if you want to keep your teeth, by the way. And, okay, well, if I'm going to remember that it's on this date and that I'm supposed to be there on that. Okay, yeah, it's in there. I got that. There's no way that I'm going to remember an appointment that was scheduled 6 months ago. Nobody's brain is that good. That's why we have and this is the one thing. You ready for the one thing? The one thing that's going to make the biggest difference in your follow-up is called a calendar. Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, really, Todd? A calendar? Yeah, it's called your calendar because the calendar is what you put stuff in that you've got to be at. Like, I don't know, so I lived in Scottsdale, Arizona, okay? And when you're in Scottsdale, Arizona in the sunshine and you're out in the sun, like skin doctors, that's big business down there in the Valley of the Sun, right? So, you book an appointment unfortunately, you book an appointment with a skin doctor in Scottsdale and they're so busy, you're literally not getting in for 5 or 6 months. So if you have something you need to get checked on your skin. I mean, if something you need to get checked on your skin and it's an emergency situation, like this needs to get checked right away, don't be waiting 6 months. Figure out a way to get into your skin doctor, right? That's pretty important. You don't want to have something growing on your body and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to wait for, But if you're doing your regular, checkup, they're scheduling it way the heck out. And and the funny thing is, I'm not missing the checkup. Like if you have some really important appointment that's scheduled in your calendar, like some, different medical procedures or whatever are scheduled so far in advance that there's no way when that date comes up, you're going to miss it. But why is it then? So you got this skin doctor appointment that, is like on a particular date, you don't remember it, but you put it in your calendar because all of us have calendars, right? If you don't have a calendar, it's probably a good idea to get one, okay? But you put it in your calendar when that date comes up, you're not going to be missing that because, if you miss the appointment, it could be another 6 months before you get in. But what's fascinating to me is like, oh, I'm going to call John back. You talk to John. Hey, John, take a look at this video. And John's like, yeah, I can get to it on Wednesday. And John, okay, cool. So, yeah, I'll call you on Thursday. And you don't put that in your calendar? Are you freaking nuts? Like, how do you expect to build a network marketing business? And people do this all the time. They're like, oh, I forgot to call the person back. I'm just so bad at follow-up. It's not hard. You should literally be, every single person watching me, listening to me, depending on where you're catching me, should literally never, ever miss an appointment because why? Everything goes into your calendar. It's just like, to me, it's like common sense. But sometimes common sense is one of the least common things that we find in people. They're like, oh yeah, I'm going to be successful in this business. Yeah, Johnny, all right, I'll call you back sometime. Or I'll call you back. Yeah, I'll get back to you on Friday. And you don't put it in your calendar. Like, if I tell somebody, like, here's the other thing. Your word should be gold. If you say something, it should be guaranteed, not maybe, perhaps, might happen, I don't know. It depends on my mood that day. That's not how you win in any business. Nobody's going to join you when you say you're going to do something and then you don't follow through on what you said you were going to do. A friend of mine used to say a promise made is a debt unpaid. So if I say I'm going to be there tomorrow, Thursday at 5 o'clock, that's a promise that I made. And that's a debt that's unpaid, that tomorrow at 5 o'clock, guess what happens? That person's phone is going to ring. Or if it was an in-person appointment, I will be on time for that appointment. And so to me, like, if you really want to be an expert, like the pro of pros, when it comes to follow-up, the only thing that you really need to be concerned about is that you put every single thing that you have to get done in your calendar. And you follow it up by doing this. And this is really important. When you go to bed at night, like, okay, I'm going night-night. It's time for me to turn the lights off and go to sleep, get my rest for the evening. Before you go to bed tonight, you need to be looking at your calendar to see what's going on tomorrow, right? Because I don't know if this is I know somebody watching me or listening to me has had this happen. You didn't look at your calendar. You're at least smart enough to put it in your calendar. So you got that. You get an A grade for that you're already living by your calendar. But then the thing that you didn't do, and I'm not saying you, might be you, I don't know. But then you wake up in the morning and you forgot that you had like a 6 a.m. Zoom with somebody over in Europe or some other place, because in network marketing, a lot of times we're doing business all over the world, and sometimes you schedule. I've had Zoom scheduled at 6 a.m. I've had Zoom scheduled at 3 a.m. my time. I've had midnight. There's probably not an hour of the day that I haven't had some meeting scheduled. And you're thinking, Todd, really? You get up? Yeah, if I've got a guy or gal in some other part of the world and they're ready to chat business and happens to be the most convenient time for them is 3 a.m. my time, I'm going to set the alarm for 2:30 and I'm going to get my butt out of bed and I'm going to show up for that appointment. I mean, I work with people in Japan and they happen to, Saturday mornings for them happens to be the ideal time. And for me, it's like 7 p.m. on a Friday night. Well, yeah, I could, typically I'm out to dinner with the wife or doing something on Friday night. So what am I going to say? Well, no, I'm never gonna be able to meet with you because the only time that you guys have your super Saturdays is Saturday morning in Japan and at 7 p.m. my time, and me going out to dinner and partying with my friends is more important than scheduling a time to be there at 7 p.m. so I can be there for your morning training. That's not how you do business. You have to have the flexibility to be able to put stuff in your calendar, but also the prioritization of looking at your calendar daily. Like literally, I'm not going to turn and do it, but my laptop's right here. And my calendar is always open on my laptop. So I see what's going on and what's coming up. I know that, for example, tonight at 6 p.m., depending on when you're looking at, watching me or listening to me, but I know tonight, as when I'm recording this, tonight at 6 p.m. my time, I'm going to be on a Zoom. But what if I'd never bothered to look at my calendar and then all of a sudden I got 300 people waiting for me for a Zoom for an accountability program, interestingly enough, and I don't show up for the 6 p.m. accountability Zoom? I mean, how accountable am I as the guy leading the accountability deal when the guy that's running the show isn't even showing up? Do you think those people would have a level of increase of respect for me as a coach or somebody training them when I can't even show up for my own accountability thing that I'm running? No, all those people are like, don't want to flake, don't want to do business with this person. So you can't, here's the other thing you got to understand, guys. You cannot afford to miss a single appointment, okay? You can't, because like the example, okay, you scheduled some meeting at the local coffee shop at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, and you scheduled it 3 weeks ago, okay? It was scheduled 3 weeks ago. It's not, if it was in your brain, you wouldn't remember it, but you're smart enough to know that the key to exceptional follow-up is using your calendar. And so you put it in your calendar, but then you forgot the second part of it is actually looking at your calendar daily And so you forgot to look at your calendar. You got this thing that you scheduled 3 weeks ago at 7 a.m. You don't normally do meetings at 7 a.m., but this particular prospect, the only time that they could meet with you was 3 weeks out at 7 a.m. That was like the only time you could work it out with one another. And normally you get up at 6, but maybe I don't know, you had insomnia last night, or you stayed up too late, or maybe you didn't have a good night's sleep, and maybe you slept later than you normally would sleep, and or maybe your alarm, you forgot to set your alarm. Why'd you forget to set your alarm? Because you didn't even look at your calendar, realizing, holy smokes, I got to make sure that I'm at this appointment at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. So you finally, roll out of bed at 7:30, and that poor prospect of yours that, it's been 3 weeks, it's been scheduled out, showed up for the meeting, and they're sitting there twiddling their thumbs, going, where's my guy who's going to be, sharing with me I'm going to change the quality of my life, and how great this business was, and, how great of a, how committed of a leader he or she was, and then they pull a no-show on this important meeting that we had scheduled for the last 3 weeks. Do you think that person is going to join your business after that? Probably not. They're probably not going to join your business. And you could try to make, I'm so sorry, blah, 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 blah. It's like, dude, you can be as sorry as you want, but based on the fact that we scheduled this out for 3 weeks, it was a 7 a.m. deal, and you didn't show up for it, I'm not, if it was me, I'm not going to join you, because you just kind of showed your cards to me. And the thing, and this is the last thing that I want to say, is we can never predict what that person is capable of doing or who they could lead us to. So, that 7 a.m. coffee appointment that you missed because you slept in and you forgot to take a look at your calendar the night before, maybe they would have produced nothing. Maybe they would have been a person like many do, come into network marketing and never do anything. Or maybe, just maybe, they could have been that person that, came in and built a $1 million leg in your organization, but you'll never know. You'll never know because you didn't do the second part of the equation, which is making sure you're on top of your calendar. So if you want to be an expert of experts when it comes to following up, the one thing that's going to make the biggest difference, the one thing is your calendar, and using your calendar and looking at it daily. Like, I live inside of my calendar. My calendar doesn't rule me. I command my calendar. So if I want to schedule something in a particular time, I do. But let me just tell you something. I don't miss appointments. I'm not late for appointments. And if I was to be late because something happened, there was a car accident on the way, or there was more traffic, then, I know I gave myself plenty of time. I've never actually driven across town, and it's taken me this much time to get across town. But in this example, there was a road closure, there was an accident, a fire extinguisher blew up, I don't know, something happened. I'm going to at least pick up the phone and call that person and say, look, man, I'm on my way. There was an accident. I'm running 10 minutes behind. And in fact, before cell phones existed, and I've had this happen, before cell phones, there's like no excuse for this, but before cell phones occurred, right, before they came into existence, if I knew I was running late, and I knew I was going to be 5 minutes late, even 5 minutes late, I would literally pull over. This is back when we could find like payphones. I would pull over, which would make me even a little bit later, but I would pull over, I would call the person and say, hey, I'm running a little bit behind. There was whatever happened, and I'll be there about 10 minutes after our scheduled appointment. That's way better than you showing up, because like if you have a 7 o'clock appointment, those people expect the appointment to be happening at 7 o'clock. So and if you show up at 7:05 without calling them and say, hey, I'm running a few minutes late, those 5 minutes, that's torture for them. It's like they're sitting around, and if you're like me and it's the 7 o'clock meeting and you're coming to meet me, chances are that I'm there at like 6:50. I'm there sipping some coffee before I'm there before you show up. So, but if you're going to show up and your prospect is sitting there by themselves and you're running late, but you don't let them know that you're running a little late, that's torture for them. Let them know they're going to respect you more. You guys can own it. I'm just telling you, you can own it. You can dominate it when it comes to follow-up. just by being that responsible person where for you a promise made is a debt unpaid, and you show up. And you show up because it's in your calendar, and you never forget because it's in your calendar. How can you forget? The way you forget is you forget to take a peek at your calendar. So look at it daily, put it all in your calendar, and then you know what? You're going to sign up a lot more people. You're going to have a lot more respect from the people you do business with, and you're going to be known as a person that, you know what, when they say something, and when you say you're going to be there, when you say you're going to do it, they know that they can do it. They know that they can count on you. And people want to work with people that they know that they can count on. So anyhow, I appreciate you guys for being here. If you're on my YouTube channel, appreciate you guys on YouTube. If you're listening to me on my podcast, thank you so much. Love you guys as well. The rest of the story, other resources for you guys are right here on my website for this particular episode, toddfalcone.com/episode 165. Again, toddfalcone.com/episode 165. All right? Have an amazing day. We'll see you next time.